Hey, Stephen.
Hey, good morning.
Morning. Hey, where are you? Where's home base for you?
I'm based out of Seattle.
Okay, all right. So this is the early one for you. Got it.
Yeah, 9 o'clock. I'm normally up. I got kids, so I'm up early anyway. So,
Oh yeah.
how about you?
I'm in Atlanta, so I'm on the
Hmm.
East Coast here. So it's
Starting,
lunchtime.
starting, starting your afternoon.
Yeah. I'm, give it a few minutes. It's like a light agenda today. Mostly kind of like project hygiene type of things.
Yeah, I'm trying to get. This has been a pretty busy month for me. I'm trying to get, or I should say, August was. I'm gonna get back into it though. Should be able to start contributing again, at
Oh,
least
nice.
wherever I can.
Yeah. All right. I think Troy is actually out. I'll go ahead and share out the agenda here. I'm assuming people can see what I'm sharing.
Yep.
Okay, I'm in the office, so I'm hooked to one of these fancy monitors and there's stuff all over the place. All right. We'll give it another minute and then we'll kick things off.
Morning, Sarah. Long time.
I know. I know. I'm hoping you're liking your new job.
Yes,
Good, good.
it's considerably more than I did in Alaska. It's much more impactful.
That's good. Yeah, I figured when you got quiet, I was like, oh yeah, new job, new responsibilities, lots of new onboarding docs. I totally get it.
Yeah, and it's a greenfield project, so literally starting from nothing and building everything up.
Wow. Okay, so you have a lot of work on your hands.
Yes, lots of bootstrapping.
Well, hey, we
Uh,
can we can help with some of that.
that's fun stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm slowly trying to figure out how I can trickle Porter into this stuff, but I will tell you that you're going to have a new adopter at some point to put onto your website. Once I can convince us to start doing it,
Hmm.
um, but baby steps because we weren't even doing Terraform before I got here. So
Wow. Wow. Oh yeah, you have a little bit of time.
yes, in the next 6 months, I think.
That's pretty good. I mean, onboarding a whole team and like on Terraform is a lot of work. And I think being able to use Porter to like kind of like remove some of the like heavy lifting of that might be nice. Been working a lot on the Terraform mixin for Porter because of recent events, so that's been kind of fun.
By the way, I want to
Cool.
I want to bring this up. I don't know
Mhm.
if we want to talk about it now or as a like a post thing.
Mm.
But I want to talk about Porter state storage integration into CI tooling as a first class citizen.
When you say integration, are you talking more than a plugin?
Say what?
When you're talking this integration, are you talking like more than the plugin, like a storage plugin?
Yes, 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 yes. I don't want to derail the meeting, so we
Oh,
can
okay,
maybe
Mm,
sidebar about that afterward.
that totally works. Cool.
yeah. Yeah, let's go ahead and officially kick it off. if everyone is okay with that. All right, welcome to the Porter Biweekly meeting, community call. Today is September 7th, 2023. As always, this call is governed by the CNCF, so please familiarize yourself with the code of conduct markdown that's located in the repo for participation. And let's get into it. So, yeah, we just got a couple of kind of what I would call project house cleaning items that we want to discuss. Sarah, you're up first. I know we've been having some back channel discussions about this, but let's talk about what we want to do with this website.
Yeah, I just kind of wanted to get the community's opinion on this as well. So basically, right now, operator docs are in the operator, Porter main docs are in Porter main, and then I think the website is also in Porter main. So we're kind of split between two different places. And at first I was like, oh no, this is hard to take care of. But looking back on it now, with like a different mindset, I realized that it's mainly like that. So when people add things, they can easily change the documentation. And so I'm trying to see, should we move the doc into its own repository and kind of have like here's all of the docs, here's the website right here, or should we kind of keep it separated? Or does anyone have any ideas on, if we should do something or what should we do?
Yeah. I could just give you my opinions. I've in having just contributed just a lot of docs to sites. Most of the projects that I've been a part of have had like a separate repo, because what you then can have is like just doc maintainers, and then you don't have to worry about anyone like touching a lot of the code, for the actual project itself. But I do understand, like, so there is like some processes that would need to be put in place to ensure, like, once you're revving like some of the code that's represented in the docs. And I think like if you put those in place, it should be okay. I know with like you might be familiar with this. I know with like OSM we had like drop down. So I don't know if we were keeping like N-2 version of docs or something. And so, even if you was like on an older like version of something, you could still kind of go to the docs and look at, whatever was relevant for that particular version. And so we did kind of manage it that way. But I do know it's a heavy lift for like if you just want to just like contribute to docs and having to like deal with the whole repo, that it's, if you're just a doc person, it's a little overkill from that perspective, but it's, I don't know. Have one person struggle with someone else's. It's just super easy for someone else. So I'm not sure.
Yeah, I totally get those points. Stephen, Alan, do you have any kind of ideas or insights on, I know it's kind of like should we just move this into a repo type of question, but just trying to get from like different community perspectives if this is something the community wants or.
For me, it's more just about usability of the website. I've always found it to be not just great overall. Not all the links work. It's not searchable. So in terms of whether it's in its own repo or like all that stuff, I just want the website to be very UX friendly, right?
Yeah, we are totally working on that. I don't know if I saw his name on here that Sumit was coming, but he actually is working on putting us on a new Hugo theme and everything.
Yeah. Yep. I'm not a huge UX web design guy.
Oh yeah.
I would, for me, Porter, like I want my website to tell me what the CLI commands are, right? So that's kind of my experience, but overall, just being able to redesign the website essentially from the ground up with a good UX flow in mind would be ideal, right? And that just increase usability, because that was again the biggest gripe we had from somebody on our team was like, I don't even know how to do this because the docs aren't clear. And that was all coming straight from the website. And I'm like, oh, well, you do this, but I happen to know how it works because I've been in the code.
Yeah, you got all this tribal knowledge there.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I mean, I had the same experience when I was getting introduced to this. It was tough, and I think that's kind of on the agenda too. It's just to kind of you know put the right persona. I think we've chatted about this maybe a couple of other calls ago, but yeah, make sure like there's operators persona, developers persona, and stuff is pretty clear on what Port is capable of doing in each of those personas.
Well, cool. I feel like if no one has super strong opinions on moving the website into its own repo, then like let it be done type of thing.
Yeah, I just think we just have to have like the processes in place to ensure like when you're revving the operator or that's all reflected in the next version. So we'll have to kind of just make sure that we dig into how best to do that. But I'm all for having a separate website or separate repo website.
Cool.
See, we have Alan joining by his iPhone. Alan, any comments? Maybe he's just hanging back. Okay. Anything else on this, Sarah, that you want to
Nope,
chat
nope.
about,
I think
or
we're
are we good
good.
with that?
Yeah,
Okay.
I'll write down a note that of the decision we made, and we'll do that going forward.
Okay. Yeah, I was gonna say, should we like, obviously KubeCon North America's coming. That's gonna be in November. Should we try to put some stress on ourselves and see if we can get like the new site up and running by November?
Yeah, I think that was the original plan, was to debut the new website with the new front page by KubeCon.
Nice. Okay. Okay. All right. Cool. Um, all right. So that's that. This next one is I just wanted to kind of follow up on the discussion. We didn't have too many people in the last committee call, but um, kind of not in the same theme of the website, but uh, we were talking about like moving a lot of like even our notes site over to Google Docs, and there's some pros and cons, right? Um, one of the pros I think is we would be kind of in line with a lot of open source projects out there that use Google Docs or just kind of like the Google Suite. Um, one of the advantages I think is like being able to easily like create the groups and then create like calendars so that people can just automatically have like the invites plugged in when they subscribe to like a Porter calendar, etc. Um, I don't think it's super critical, but I just want to kind of get people's kind of hear some opinions if people think that effort's worth doing, etc.
When you say follow-up discussion, what exactly are you talking about moving?
So like this, like we use like HackMD, and typically like most, I would probably say like 99% of other like open source projects, especially under like CNCF, they just use like Google Docs for this, for the collaboration piece. Um, most people have like their Google, like their Gmails, and they can add people, etc. And people will get kind of like those notifications. Um,
Oh,
also,
okay.
yeah, then also, you can take advantage of like the Google Groups and then also the calendar as well. So I know most projects have it to where you just subscribe to the calendar, and then all of the community calls will come up, or any other type of calls that you have. someone can just put in the calendar and then they'll just sync up on your own Google Calendar, and you'll know you'll be in the know about kind of what's all happening with the project itself. If we were trying to replicate that, like we would end up having to touch a bunch of different other tools, and that could just operationally could be like just cumbersome, you know. So again, I'm just throwing it out there, just someone's fresh on this project and who's worked across like several other like open source projects. This was kind of something that kind of stood out to me because like I guess we all get so conditioned to certain stuff, and then you move into this and I'm like, okay, well, where's this, where's that, where if it was similar tooling, it's very easy to kind of get, you know, you kind of know where everything is.
Yeah, I don't have any strong opinions on this. I'm totally fine with whatever's just easy for the community going forward.
Yeah, I mean, it's, you know, it's not, it's this is just kind of hygiene stuff if we care to do it or not. Any thoughts there, Stephen or Alan?
Not really. Like I said, as long as it increases the UX and usability, then
Yeah.
I'm on board. I don't have a huge opinion on how this stuff all works though, because it's outside my wheelhouse for sure.
Yeah. Okay. Maybe we'll because the nice thing is we can stage that and then we can kind of get it going and everyone can kind of understand it. And if everyone likes it, we'll kind of just say, hey, we'll switch over at a certain date. If people say, hey, this is just more crap I got to deal with, then we'll just scrap it. So it's very low risk to kind of test that out.
Cool.
All right, that's all on the stated agenda. I don't know, Stephen, we got some time if you want to get into the earlier topic that you brought up.
Yeah. Yeah, there's just something. So like coming into a new team and even working with a previous team, um, when you're bootstrapping a new project into a DevOps style workflow, it's such a pain to figure out. It's kind of like a chicken and egg thing. It's like I want to run automation against a pipeline, but I need a place to store state for that automation, but I want to create everything via automation. So how do I create via automation all the bootstrapping components to run my automation, but I can't create that via automation, right? Like it's this really annoying circle that you get into. So GitLab added into one of their releases a managed Terraform or GitLab managed Terraform state. So now you actually are able to, from just GitLab itself for a particular repo, essentially they give you a locally stored encrypted Terraform state that's just directly integrated into the repo and the pipeline, and it is an incredible experience. There's no bootstrapping required. Like you just come into a repo and you start running your Terraform. And that is, in my opinion, the shining example of the DevOps experience, especially for infrastructure as code specific things, is the GitLab managed Terraform state. Now, on the flip side, we're doing things in Azure DevOps. And that's, in my opinion, the polar opposite of that, because there's not an integrated way to do this. Like if you're talking about Terraform specifically, you need to store things off in like Azure Blob Storage, and there's not really this integrated, nice, simple way to do all this. And you have to bootstrap a bunch of stuff. You have to like with the blob container that you want to store your state in. You don't want it publicly accessible, but you need it publicly accessible for your pipeline to run against it. So one of the options is to do an unlock and then run your pipeline and then lock from like a NACL or network ACL policy. place. So it's just not a seamless experience for starting out with new automation. And I'm wondering, is there a place where Porter can tightly integrate into some of these CI toolings? And this would, require somewhat bigger project management style, but similar to how GitLab does their GitLab managed Terraform state. And I'll drop a link here to where that is, just so you can see, in where it's just first class citizen in the CI platform, and you just essentially get it for free, right? What would GitLab managed Porter state look like? What would GitHub Actions managed Porter state look like? Like, how can we integrate the experience into the actual tool that you're going to be using to run this stuff long term?
I was excited because I was like, oh, we actually already do help manage Terraform state files, but I see what you're saying now. You want to integrate into the existing CI state store.
Yeah, exactly. Like there's no reason why I couldn't say, okay, I'm going to create a new, let's say Azure DevOps, because I don't know how actively developed that is, but it's Microsoft product, Microsoft tool. I should be able to say, okay, I want to create a pipeline and I want to create a Porter state storage for automation runs in this pipeline. And it's maybe one click button on the website, or you just run it and it's based off the file path or whatever that is, but it's just integrated into the overall experience, and you don't have to do all this additional bootstrapping in order to set it up. Plus it's managed securely, encrypted and not publicly available, all the things that you would want from infrastructure as code state storage. So that's kind of my pie in the sky dream. Like, I come into whatever automation platform I'm using, and I can quickly set up a secure Porter backend that I can run my automation against. And that gives it like the full CI/CD tool experience, right?
Yeah, I think if we integrated, so like right now we rely so heavily on Mongo for our state store that it's kind of hard to decouple Porter and Mongo right now. But there is the pie in the sky of decoupling them and allowing you to BYO state store.
Yeah, although I mean, you don't necessarily even have to decouple it, right? Because there's all kinds of ways that you can, like, say for example, in ADO, maybe enabling the Porter backend for a pipeline is creating a resource group with a very locked down security model that has Cosmos DB with the Mongo overlay on it, that has all the network security and uses managed identities to actually make sure that only the pipeline identity is able to access that Mongo database, right? The security is there. It's more of packaging it and making it a seamless UX so that you can just quickly say, I want to use Porter inside this project for all of my CI runs, and it's just there, right?
Yeah.
Kind of like how GitLab managed Terraform state is just there.
I'm wondering if we can just make bundles. Like, here's your ADO bundle.
Yeah.
And it already builds out, that state store aspect, locks it down for you, whatever,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I think that you could do the bundles like we could have bundles that do the bootstrapping, but like in terms of we got to write that bundle, we got to manage it, maintain it, and then you have to tell somebody, okay, so now you need Porter to run Porter, and it gets kind of meta. So like, can you do this under the hood, obfuscate that from the user, or is maybe the first UX is like, here is a ADO Porter, or call it an Azure Porter state bundle that. But see, the thing is you have to then make sure that's integrated with like a managed identity in ADO. So I'm really thinking about the ADO use case and how does that translate. There's some ways we could do it, maybe with like custom service connections and service principals and all that. So we could definitely bundleize the workflow. But again, who's writing the bundle, who's maintaining the bundle, who's
Yeah,
evangelizing the bundle so that it gets usage. I would
right,
like
right.
it to be just an option integrated into ADO where it's like, here's a enable porter for your CI/CD, and it just, you know, maybe we'll click on the button or a single API call that just does it under the hood, right?
Right. No, and I think once we do like more, we like expand dependencies, this will get a lot easier because now you can like kind of create out like a dependency line where you're like, okay, I'm running this in ADO. I need to build up my state store. And then on top of that,
Mhm.
here's like my actual bundle, my actual CI, all that stuff. So like it gets a little bit cleaner once we kind of build out more dependencies.
Sure. I mean, the way that Porter has its state storage just as, you know, objects inside of Mongo is actually cleaner in my mind than
Mhm.
Terraform too, because like it's kind of annoying if you're using just blob storage to have multiple pipelines that are running against maybe the same container inside blob storage, but different, actual states. And
Mhm.
now you have to worry about like, well, you either don't unlock the storage account or you have just a public storage account and that's um, just always available and you just try to lock down the containers. What's the security model for that? That's not as
Mhm.
clear to me as a security model for here's a Mongo instance that I can lock down to a managed identity that, I can um, run as many parallel porter jobs against as I want to, right?
Mhm. Yeah. No, I like this use case. I should be writing this down. Um, because especially as we try to figure out like our user stories and how we can use Porter in different ways. I find a lot of people see Porter and they go like, this is a really like, broad product. And so having these use cases will help generate a lot more adopters. I know that's like not, the biggest thing, but if we're able to like write this down, here we go, and like even make one test bundle that does this, I think it'll
Mm-hmm.
really help with that.
Well, and like I said, this GitLab managed Terraform state, in my experience, is the shining example of how to integrate this, make infrastructure as code a first
Mhm.
class citizen in your CI/CD tool that just is just there.
Mhm.
And it works out of the box and it's flexible and it's secure. Like this is excellent,
Yeah.
excellent way to handle this.
Mhm.
Yeah, I'm just looking over this. Yeah, this is a really nice, shiny, easy button. This looks pretty
Yep.
slick. Yeah.
Yeah, like
Um,
for me, I would because they do the same thing with Kubernetes clusters, and they've done this for a while. They've got like the cluster that you can have, basically say here's a Kubernetes cluster and here's a kube config for it, and now you can just use this in your pipelines, and it just works. And that's not as complex, but like if I was on GitLab and I was looking for an infrastructure as code tool, I would stop at Terraform because like it does everything I want. It's integrated into the platform. I don't care about Pulumi. I don't care about Chef or Puppet or like why? Terraform is already here and it's easy and ready to go. So I don't know who came up with the genius integration between GitLab and HashiCorp, but they knocked it out of the park. I'll put it that way.
That's the biggest thing that like the more when I found out that the Terraform mixin manages Terraform state, and then on top of that, like you could create like specified like your custom actions on top of this, just to run specific like state commands. Like we're just extending the like actual Terraform and like wrapping it in Porter. I was like, this is
Mhm.
crazy. Like everyone wants managed Terraform state. We're giving you the ability to roll
Yep.
your own a little bit, and
Yes.
like the fact that we do that, we aren't like capitalizing on that and telling people about it. And I'm like, look, this is like open source Terraform, but like a little bit different where we can like handle your
Yes.
state. Like it's huge.
It's Terraform Enterprise, but better, in my opinion.
If the meeting wasn't recorded, I would tell you what I actually call it.
Well, I mean, I've used both extensively, and that is my opinion as a third party observer. So
Well, that's the hugest thing too, is we
that's
can
from the
use
community.
Porter to like extend, like we can quote unquote roll your own. Like you can use Porter to do your own things that you would want out of that. I think that's huge. And then like take
Right.
Porter, do your own Terraform things, and then also, okay, now we'll integrate into your CI/CD. Oh, now we'll
Well,
integrate into your staging, your prod, whatever.
but also the thing, I think Brian added it in a couple years ago, but the state keyword, where
Mm-hmm.
like you define what your state is. It doesn't have to be Terraform state. Your state can be any arbitrary directory or file in the container, and that still gets stored. So being able to define what your state is. So like we had applications where our state was not only the Terraform state file, but also an Ansible inventory or an Ansible host file, right?
Mm,
So like those two together define what state is now.
yeah.
And it's just very useful to have. But the problem is we solved managed Terraform state, but we didn't solve the Porter state. So it's you still have this bootstrap, you still have this like in order to run Terraform, you need to, or I mean, sorry, if you, in order to run Porter, you have to go set up the state backend for it. So how do we have managed Porter state? Of
Mm-hmm.
obviously outside of like the Terraform operator and Terraform, or I mean, the Porter operator and Porter as a service, and that whole discussion is a different, I think, a different use case.
Right.
This is more like I'm a developer starting out a greenfield project. Why would I choose Porter over some other infrastructure as code DevOps style tool?
Mm,
Well, here's the reason why. Like you don't have to do all this extra work to get things running. And oh, by the way, you also get the full flexibility of any infrastructure as code tooling that you want and everything packaged and version lock and all that. So you get all the benefits of Porter, and the
mm.
bootstrapping is integrated into your CI platform.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I get that. I really like this idea. We'll have to look into it. I like the idea of making it a bundle, but I think you're right. Like, who's gonna manage it? Who's gonna take care of it? Where's it gonna go? That type of stuff is always hard. But I think at least getting one up and showing how you can do it is at least a start.
Yeah, and I think the example of ADO is actually a good one because I think it's one of the more complex ones because of how ADO deals with like so like pipelines are separate from repos and service connections are separate from pipelines
Mm,
and variable groups are connected to you can connect them to key vaults and give them access to a or over a service connection and give it access into a pipeline. But like the multiple different things that you have to like connect together in order to make it work is cumbersome initially.
mhm.
And so either having a bundle that defines it and says like you want managed Terraform state or managed Porter state inside of an ADO pipeline, here's the bundle that enables that. Or that's probably step one. Step two is let's run that bundle on your behalf on the back end of ADO or on the back end of GitLab or whatever it is, right? Like
Right.
obscure some of that complexity.
Yeah. No, I like that. Well, cool. Um, I think that's a really good use case. I think we should make a bundle that at least follows the ADO Azure one, the Azure what is it called? User experience for this of like having a Porter managed state. I think that'd be good. So
Yeah. That would be, I mean, that would at least give ADO an edge on either GitLab or GitHub in terms of, pipelines.
right. So cool. I will write that
Should
down.
this be, Sarah, would this be classified as a PEP or is something different?
I wouldn't make this a PEP. I would make it more of like a honestly, what we could do, which is probably a good idea, is to make this into like an issue for like a future request. And
Yeah,
it just be like, hey, I want like, here's like my user story, quote unquote. And then like, here's what I'm looking for. Can we build a bundle that will show what it would be like to have managed Porter State?
right.
Um, And so I'm going to write that down to do.
Just rip off the GitLab model and do the same thing, but for Porter. That's all I ask. Because it's seamless.
Yeah, hey, this works.
Word radio. All right, since you're here, Phil, do you have anything you would like to bring up too? Just wanna stop and check temperature.
No, that's it. We kind of talked about some of just the hygiene stuff for the project, but
Okay, cool.
no, I'm good for today.
Cool. Steven, I wanted to ask you, I have you here captive. Basically, for outputs, do you know how hard it is, or how easy it is? I think what we need to do is like create an upgrade path with that bundle. I haven't even seen the bundle. I don't know what bundle we're talking about. Do you know off
Oh,
the top of your head how hard that is or how easy it is?
It's not hard. I've just been going and
I know you've
collecting
been busy. I was
directions
gonna
lately.
look at it, but I couldn't. I was like, show me where the bundle is. And Troy was like, I will. And then we both went on vacation. So,
Yeah. So this is the bundle. I went to build it. Actually, the one
oh,
this is forked. It's forked from one that Brian wrote too. So that's probably that one might be the more recent one. I'll have to look and see which one is the most up to date. Um, but there's absolutely nothing in there that's complicated, right? It's the most simple bundle you can possibly imagine. It just
mhm.
gives you the ability to set the exit code and set the delay that the bundle takes to run, essentially. And then the outputs are the action that you ran, and then your inputs, and then a insecure secret value, because we were using it to test out like our integration into um, our secret stores as well. There is an upgrade action in there already.
Oh,
And so we just need to probably make the upgrade action do something else, right? So essentially just change what the testme.sh runs for upgrade. Super simple, not a big deal to do. But the last time I tried it right before I moved on to this new job, and it didn't build. There was something with the build, and I didn't actually look into that. It could have been because I was running on a M2. It could have been
okay.
something with my local porter. So that's where I essentially stopped.
Okay. Cool.
Um, so yeah, it's already there. We just need to have the upgrade change something. And essentially it already works because out the outputs will change because the action will have changed, right? So now we're going to have maybe the same values for out delay, out exit status, and out insecure value, but we're going to have a different out action that will have gone from install to upgrade.
Oh,
So
okay.
that's already done. We will have outputs changing between install and upgrade.
That's what I was gonna
It's
say.
just
If we can just do that, like change the outputs, done. There you go. That's all we have to test.
yeah, that's already done. Like
Yeah.
outputs will change. Three of them will be the same. One of them will be different unless you change it. Like you can say I want to upgrade and I want to change the delay and I want to change the exit status. You can do that as well, right? You can actually test this full flow out the way the bundle is written. We just have to essentially make sure that it and maybe that's what I added in. Maybe that's what the let me see here. Yeah. So that's what I added in. So if you go look at the one in my GitHub, not the one in Brian's.
Mm-hmm.
So the thing that I added was just that right there. It was added the upgrade action to the bundle. And so now it will run. So that's the latest one.
Okay.
But again, I just it didn't build in the pipeline, and I never actually debugged why it was not building.
Okay. Cool. Cool.
So
That works. I mean, I'll let Troy know that, and then yeah, I haven't seen this. So now that I see it, I'm like, okay, cool. We can totally run with this and get the
Yeah, so
output stuff done.
super simple. There's nothing complex about it at all.
Cool. Last thing
So.
I want to ask you about is if you're going to Coupon.
Oh, I don't know yet. When I haven't gotten tickets, November 6th to November 9th.
Mm-hmm.
I would love to. I'll have to run that by my manager and see. I would have to pony up for the cost, but I'm okay
Oh,
with that. Like that's
okay.
not a big deal. I will let you know next week if I'm gonna make it or not.
Cool. Cool. Yeah, we have all that stuff planned, and I am trying to sign as many people up to help with the booth as possible because
Yeah. Yep.
I scheduled a
I would
4-time booth.
absolutely. Yep. I would be there at the booth as much as possible. If I can make it, I'll be at the booth.
That was amazing.
the
I'll
whole
figure
time.
out some way to thank you for that. We also have like a work session coming up too on that Monday. We have like an hour. And so I'm thinking hopefully we can get people in, talk to them. I wanted to do like a mini baby porter retro, honestly, for the working session, but we'll just see what our turnout is. But I'd love to just get the community's feedback on like things that are working, things they'd like to see. Or I don't know if people don't like retros that much and they're just like, oh my God, this is terrible. So I'm not 100% sure, but I thought that would be fun.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Just
Cool.
I will let you know what. Let's see. I'm looking at the pricing now. It looks like it's going to be 1079 or 700. I probably don't need the all access pass. I can probably just
Maybe we can
get
like
access
just
into.
I wonder if there's like booth work passes, like if we get you in on booth duty, if they'll
Ooh,
just let you.
that's a good. Yeah, I would totally be fine with that. Like I could just come and run and do the booth.
Cool. Let me Phil, I don't know if you know anyone. I can talk to Amy and I can send her a message, but that might be a good, takeaway item to see if we can get, if we're like, hey, we need help with the booth. Can you guys give us like booth passes for people? That'd be really nice.
Yeah, there was just an email that went out talking about this specific situation. So yeah, let's circle back on that. I can't
Cool.
remember who sent that, but there was a list of things and availability. So yeah, let's check into it.
That
Cool.
yeah, I'd definitely be on board for doing the booth pass.
Awesome. Alrighty.
And maybe I can get Brian to come along with me too.
Yeah, I know he's still in Japan right now, right?
No, he just got back. He
Oh,
got
okay.
back, I think Monday. I was hoping he would be here, but evidently he's maybe sleeping in.
Well, I don't want to blame him if he's sleeping. He's been in Japan for a while, but cool. I'll expect and hopefully he's here next meeting and we can get the gang together. But cool.
Cool. All right,
Cool.
sounds good.
All right. See you all later. Bye.
All right. See ya.